everyone. I'm Sarah Michel. This is another weekly challenge to God. For those who aren't familiar, this is a live stream where I challenge God to provide any evidence that He exists. Now, Him being all powerful, I'm sure, and capable of creating miracles, I'm pretty sure He's capable of providing any physical evidence that he exists, and this stream is a challenge for him to do that. Now, today, excuse me, today I want to talk about something very personal, which is an atheist perspective on death, meaning, and legacy. This is something that theists often wonder about, what it is like for an unbeliever. The idea of death, that when you die, you're gone, there is no afterlife. And what is that? How can we find meaning in life by not believing in afterlife? Now, first of all, not every atheist doesn't believe in afterlife. You can be an atheist and believe in afterlife and believe in the supernatural. They are not mutually exclusive. But I don't believe in afterlife. I am the kind of atheist that don't believe in afterlife. So my perspective is probably relevant for those who wonder. Well, I did not always not believe in afterlife, and this is going to get a little bit personal. I lost a very close person. My brother died in 2012 in an accident. He was very close to me. He was my best friend. And I couldn't fathom the possibility that he was gone. It was impossible for me to even entertain that idea. So for many years still after that happened, I still couldn't really think about it, honestly, because I was scared of what I was going to find out. But after that wound healed, partially because I think it never will, and I think it never does, but once it healed enough that I could be honest with myself about these questions of death and afterlife, the idea of afterlife, of heaven, it just doesn't make sense, and ultimately makes life absolutely meaningless. And not only that, it makes our relationships meaningless. The reason why it hurts so much when someone dies is that uncertainty that we will ever see them again. We don't know. People want to believe in afterlife, but they don't know, and that's why it hurts. Now, I've seen some believers that is really, especially Buddhists, are really good at this, in really believing there is an afterlife. They completely reject life. There was a famous case of the Buddhist monk in Vietnam that burned himself alive. That shows exactly what I mean by the belief in an afterlife not giving meaning to life. If there is an afterlife, death is not the end. It's not sad when someone dies, because that is not the end. They're not really dead. But we are not sure of that. Even most of the believers are not sure of that, and that's why it's so painful. But in the case of my case with my brother, it was difficult to accept that this young guy with lots of dreams, very healthy, just ended his life, and it just seems so unfair. But the truth is, the world is unfair. My brother is not the first person to die in such a way that seems like such a waste of a life. It happens all the time. Now, I think his case is special because he was my brother and he's close to me, but it's special for me. It's not special for the rest of the universe. The rest of the universe doesn't care. And that is an important perspective to have, that I am not that important. My life is not that important. And after I came to terms with that idea, and realized that in an afterlife, I would see my brother. We would be so happy after we saw each other. But after some time, maybe after a few months, maybe a couple of years, our relationship would be the same as it was when we were alive. And it wasn't always happy. Sometimes it would fight, sometimes it would argue. And the reason why I would make amends, why we always try to be in good terms with one another, it's because of the perspective of death, the perspective that our relationship could end. And this doesn't happen if you believe there is an eternal afterlife. It becomes absolutely meaningless. Because if I fight with him, I don't have to reach him and try to resolve the situation as soon as possible, because I have all eternity to worry about it. It makes everything pointless. And this, I think, is something that those who believe in afterlife don't really think about, because it creates a problem in that belief. And then they have to entertain the idea that life is final and there is no afterlife. After you're dead, you're gone, effectively. People have memories of you, have footage of you, etc. But you, your person, your personality, your memories are gone forever. And this might be a little bit scary to some, and I understand. But at the same time, it's extremely liberating. Now, one thing that needs to be considered is we are all vain creatures, all of us. None of us is exception. We all wonder what people will talk about us after we die. And that is a good thing. I think that is a positive thing. That to care about what others will think, it's a motivation for you to be careful about what you do. You want to be remembered positively. And that is great. A little bit of vanity is a virtue. But if you are dead, it really doesn't matter what people will talk about you after you're dead. After you're dead, you're gone. Who cares? You will be dead. It doesn't matter. And that is what I mean when I say that it's liberating. What it matters is what you do when you're alive and how people perceive you and how you want to be perceived when you are alive. What are you doing in order to create some positive impact in the world? Not after you're gone, but as you are alive. Because after you're gone, it won't matter to you. So that really takes away a lot of the burden. In my case, I am quite an ambitious person, and it just got rid of a lot of that burden that I had about being remembered and having a legacy that people will remember. It doesn't matter anymore. It matters to me when I am alive. What people think about me, say about me as I am alive. But at the same time, though, it doesn't mean that I don't have a purpose for the future. Now, this vanity that I mentioned is something that religions pray. I don't want to talk about religions in these streams, but this is something that religions pray on. And it's something that the idea of an afterlife exacerbates. It makes us more vain than we wouldn't be without this idea. Why do I say that? Because if you believe in an afterlife, and especially if you believe you will be rewarded or punished according to your actions, that means you are living to be rewarded. All your actions in your life, you are thinking about how it's going to benefit you. And this is extremely selfish. And that's why I think this idea of an afterlife is extremely harmful to our relations, because it makes us extremely self-centered. But of course, what people wonder is, if I don't believe there is an afterlife, if I don't believe what people will talk about me because I'll be dead, what is the meaning of living then? Well, the meaning of living for me, and that is the beauty of it, I can choose whatever meaning I want. The meaning for me is our children. Even though I don't have kids, but when I say children, I don't say only my immediate children, but I mean all generations, all future generations, all of them. From the end of our species, they are our children. And that gives you responsibility over them. If you really care about people, if you really care about humanity, you will live in a way that will best benefit these future generations. And that's what I mean about legacy. You don't care, like in my case anyway, I don't care what people say about me after I'm dead, but I care if what I'm doing while I'm alive will benefit future generations, will make the world a better place for them. And this is the meaning of my life, is to work towards that goal. Since I don't believe in heaven, since I don't believe I'll be rewarded for anything I do, I really don't care about living according to a point scheme where I earn points for good deeds. I don't do good deeds for that. I do good deeds because they will make the world a better place. That's the reason why I do it, not for me, but for the future generations. Because I think that it's just something that is deep in me, and I don't know what is the source of it, but I care for children. I care for our species. Not only for our species, I care for all species. I care for the future of this planet. And that is what is my perspective regarding death and legacy and meaning. It's not in any way despairing. It doesn't give me any desperation that the idea that I will be dead, that I'll be gone. On the contrary, I think it liberates me to find meaning, the meaning that I want for my life, and it liberates me because I don't care what people say about me after I'm dead. So I think, yeah, that is a very liberating perspective. And in my opinion, is if most people would to have this perspective, the world would probably be a better place, because people will be less selfish and more worried about what good they can do to others than how many points they can score with the divinity. So I hope that has given a perspective to some who wonder. And again, I've been talking for quite a while. This has been one of my longest challenges, and so far God hasn't presented any evidence. Again, I demand him to do it. Don't even ask, I demand him to do it. And nothing happens, and I believe nothing will happen. And until it does, I will keep saying that God does not exist. I am Sarah Michel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.